Yeah, hello students. Welcome back to another session. Uh, Welcome back to another session. We are dealing up with the mechanical properties of fluids, and we are in the last session of this chapter. In this class, we are going to conclude this chapter. We are left with after surface tension, surface energy, and all. We need to deal some more important terminology, something like this. First thing, what we are going to check is angle of contact. Now, what happens if angle of contact is greater than 90? And what happens if angle of contact is less than 90? It will not be equals to 90. Angle of contact cannot be equals to 90, right? And excess of pressure means, what do you mean by excess of pressure? More pressure where inside a drop, means you should know what a drop is. Depending on the angle of contact, we get drop and uh, drop and bubble. We know drop and bubble, some kind of spherical surfaces in the form of some metals, and inside that drop you are going to get some kind of more pressure. There's a formula for excess of pressure inside that, and after that you're going to have excess of pressure inside a cavity, sorry, inside a bubble. Drop and bubble are two things what we check, and inside that, and after that you're going to talk about capillarity. These are the four things what we discuss. Apart from this, the things what we have is surface tension, which we have done, which is defined as surface energy per unit area. Formulas I give. There are some more additional formulas which are not derived in the textbook or needed, which I gave in the end of PDF. Important formulas like how much of work done in expanding a drop from one radius to the other radius, from R1 to R2. It is in the form of S into 8 pi R into delta R. Formula for one formula is needed for us. What is that? Amount of work done in expanding a drop from radius R. This is the drop from radius R to a radius of R1. This is the drop you have. This is the drop we have of radius R. To increase this radius R to a new R, R1, or the change of length is delta R. In order to increase one radius from that place to a new radius of delta R, or change of radius as delta R, how much work is done is given by surface tension S multiplied by 8 pi R times of delta R. This is a formula for amount of work to be done to expand a drop from radius R to get the radius change for a bubble drop by a factor of what? Delta R. From R1, from R it should go to R1, means change of radius is delta R. That difference is what? Delta R. To expand a drop from actual radius to a new drop of radius delta R, its formula. This derivation is not there in the textbook. You can just remember this formula. Is this point clear? I'll just start with this angle of contact, and let us, this formula is already given in the PDF. Just read that formula, remember that formula. My point is, remember that formula so that it would be helpful when you're writing some kind of exams. When you go for quizzes, formula should be known to you to understand what that is, to solve the problems, right? Now let us start our first thing today. Our first topic today is angle of contact. Listen, angle of contact is the angle made by the tangential of the liquid surface with that of the solid interface. What does it mean? You can practically understand this. Upon some kind of solid surface, if you leave some kind of a water here, if you leave water here, what happens? Water is liquid, you are releasing it on the solid. Then what happens? Some kind of fluid on the solid surface will form in the form of a drop, and some kind of fluid on a solid will be spreading. Water spreads on the surface, we know. On the solid surface, water spreads. But if you take oil, it won't spread that much. It spreads in the form of drops. Or if you take water and liquids together, oils together, oils form droplets above the surface of water. Or two things. What is that? We have two kind of things called as drop and spread. When can a fluid spread? When can a fluid forms a drop? On lotus, you can see water forms in the form of droplets. On lotus leaves, if you release some water, it forms in the form of drops. Yes or no? Mercury also forms drops on any surface. Or there are two kinds of things a liquid or fluid possess. Either it forms a drop on the. Now, what is happening in this case? What is happening? Liquid is interacting with solid. This is the interface of both. What do you mean by interface? Where these two will meet. Liquid will meet the solid. What is interface? Interface is that location. This line is the interface where liquid and solid are interfacing. When liquid and solid are interfacing, what is happening? When liquid and solid are interfacing, what is happening? We'll take in detail. Angle of contact. Angle of contact is defined like this. If you have a solid interface, and some water falls on this, or let's say some fluid falls on this, some liquid falls on this, not fluid, liquid. Let us say some liquid. Now that liquid is coming and interacting with this. Liquid is coming and interacting with the solid interface. Liquid is interacting with the solid. Is this first point clear? Interaction. Something is falling and meeting. Water is thrown on the floor. Then what is happening? Liquid water is interacting with the solid surface of the floor. That is the meaning of solid interface. Interface is the point of interface is the separation where two kinds of things are going to interact. Which two are here? One is the liquid, other is the water. Now we define angle of contact like this. For this interface, for solid liquid interface, angle of contact is defined as the angle made by the. Good morning, Tarun Sai. Okay. Angle of contact is defined as the angle made by the tangential drawn on the liquid surface. This is a liquid surface, right? This is a liquid surface. What is the tangential drawn on the liquid surface? Tangential means every time it has to be perpendicular like this. It could be arrows, could be something else. It could be any direction. Now, tangential means a line to this. Tangential means here. Where is the tangential here? Like this. Where is the tangential here? Like this. Means to the center it should be perpendicular. Tangential means to the center it is perpendicular. Now, angle of contact is defined as the tangential drawn at the point of contact of the liquid with the solid. Where should you draw the tangent now? Tangent has to be drawn at the point of contact of liquid with the. This is the point at which liquid is interacting with the solid. At this point, you should draw the tangential. At this point, you should draw the tangential. Now, angle of contact is defined as the angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of liquid with the solid and taken inside that liquid onto the solid interface. This angle is called as angle of contact. It may be appearing to be a bit difficult to understand, but concept is simple. Angle of contact is the angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of contact of liquid solid interface. Where should we draw this tangential now? Not here, not here, not here, not here. Now there is one more point of contact here. At this point also you can draw the tangential. Tangential drawn at the point of contact of the liquid with the solid and taken inside the solid surface. Both of these are two theta solid. This is also theta, this is also theta. Both would be same. That is in the form of what? That is the form of what? Angle of contact. The concept clear? What is angle of contact? Angle of contact is the angle shown in terms of solid liquid interfaces. When liquid interacts with the solid, I'm repeating, when liquid interacts with the solid, there is one kind of a point where liquid can come in contact with the solid. Where the liquid is coming in contact with the solid, at that point you will draw a tangential. There are two interactions here, 2 points where it interacts. Now, how are we defining angle of contact? Angle of contact is defined as the angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of contact of liquid solid interface and taken inside that liquid onto the solid surface. Up to the solid surface, how much angle is present here? That angle is called as angle of contact. Even this is also comes out to be, there are two angle of contacts at two sides of the liquid. This is liquid and this is solid. This line is called as interface, solid liquid interface. Is this concept clear? Angle of contact? Yes, Vanilla. Angle of contact clear? Angle of contact. Just you need to understand the basic terminologies. That's it. Angle of contact. Yes, Gunti Manasa says yes, sir. Understood, right? All of you. Yes, sir. Only if you understand this, that is sufficient. Nothing else we need. No other things we have. Just definition of angle of contact. We have various angles, various places. Clear, sir. Very good. Thank you, Sujata. Thank you, Pravalika. I'm just recapping one more time. How to define this? Simple, simple, simple. How to define this? Angle of contact is defined as the angle made by the tangential. Where should we take this tangential? Tangential should be taken at the point of contact of liquid solid interface. I cannot take randomly anywhere on this. That's an important point. Angle of contact is the angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of contact of solid liquid interface and taken inside that, not outside. Outside also have one more angle. That is also important. It's not that outside the liquid, it is inside the liquid, because we need to interact with liquid and solid here. Accordingly, if you take outside, that becomes only outside the surface, not inside the surface. Simple thing, right? Both thetas are same. Yes, Kundalaya. Because liquid is same, solid surface is same, both thetas will come out to be same. Yes. The definition clear? Definition, angle of contact. Lastly, I keep repeating. Angle of contact is the angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of contact of solid liquid interface and taken inside the drop up to the solid surface. How much angle is present here? That angle is called as angle of contact. And clearly here, angle of contact can have two values with that. Angle of contact can be more than 90 degrees, less than 90 degrees. Angle of contact can be more than 90 degrees. In this case, what it is? In this case, this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Angle of contact is it more than 90 degrees or less than 90 degrees? If it is something like this. If theta is greater than 90 degrees, then that liquid will form a drop on the solid surface. On this solid surface, when a drop is going to form, when a drop is going to be formed, it depends on the angle of contact. If angle of contact is more than 90, and for every liquid surface, there exists some kind of surface tension called as S. For every liquid surface, the surface energy per unit area will be called as surface tension. So, because of the surface tension, it is going to form a drop. For what angles it is going to form a drop now? It is, if it is something like this in the form of greater than 90 degrees, then it is going to form a drop. Then what other case? If theta is less than 90, if theta is less than 90, then it is regarded as spread. What do you mean by spread now? If theta is less than 90, theta should be here. Theta should be here. If both are inside, how this outer surface is going to be? It is now going to be compressed. If these are greater, then you are going to get some kind of arc shape, and that is forming a drop. If angle is less than 90, you are going to get something like this and something like this. It is not going to have some kind of spreading. It is not going to have some kind of forming like this. It is going to form. It is like this now because of amplitude that is greater than 90 degrees. If angle is 90 less than 90, it becomes like this. Then will it spread now? Will it be drop now? It will be not a drop. That is called as a spread one, stretched membrane. That's what that spreads in the form of stretched membrane. Or two things you should remember: equals to 90 is not possible. Exactly equals to 90 is not possible. Never you will get. Or you may think that what happens if it is exactly equals to 90? It neither spreads nor forms a drop. It would be somewhere intermediate with this. You can now just take that drop and see, like, try to break a drop. Then what happens? It becomes a spread. There will be one particular stage. It neither appears in the form of a drop or nor appears in the form of a stretch. It appears something like a nu. That is called as equals to 90. But we will not talk about equals to 90. Two angles, two angle of contact. Where is angle of contact here now? Angle of contact is helping us in determining whether the liquid is going to form a drop or the liquid is going to form a spread. Where it is going to form a drop and where it is going to form a spread? On the solid surface. Where you have a solid body, that point of interaction of these two things is called a solid interface. Liquid solid interface. Liquid, solid, interface. Now you can have various terminologies for this. Liquid, solid, interface. Now this tangential line is denoted, will be having surface tension given by SLA. Surface tension of liquid. Now this is solid, this surface is solid, and this is liquid, right? Concentrate. This is liquid, and in between these two, what is that we have? Solid, liquid, and gas. All the three are there here. Is the point clear? This is liquid, this is solid, and in between these two you have air. Now there are different kinds of interfaces. This is called as surface tension of solid liquid interface. This is liquid tangential line. This tangential line is denoted by SLA. What does it mean? This is the this line corresponds to that surface tension corresponding to liquid with air. This is with what this line is interacting with air, and this corresponds to what? This corresponds to surface tension of liquid with respect to solid. Surface tension of, now this point line is being taken here, surface tension of liquid with respect to solid. SLA is the surface tension of liquid with respect to air. SLS is the surface tension of liquid with respect to solid. Terminologies we take like this, we will not use that much, but just remember, you should know this. So when it is going to form a stretch, when it is going to form a, when it is going to stretch, when that liquid is going to stretch on a solid surface, and when it is going to form a drop, means you should answer like this. If the angle is obtuse, right? Obtuse is greater than 90, I suppose. Obtuse or acute? Greater than 90 is obtuse. If the angle is obtuse or it is greater than 90, then it forms a drop. If the angle is acute, that is less than 90, then it forms a spread. This is a basic thing what you should know with respect to angle of contact. Obtuse, right? Obtuse, right? Very good. Obtuse. If angle is obtuse, if the angle of contact, which two liquids it is, which two things? It is applicable for any liquid with any solid interface. Now for understanding purpose, I have taken water and some solid surface. This liquid could be oil, liquid could be ghee, liquid could be honey, liquid could be anything else, mercury, anything else. Solid surface could be anything again. Solid surface could be anything. It could be a rock, it could be iron plate, it could be steel plate, it could be wood, anything it could be. Now depending upon that solid, depending upon that liquid, whether that is going to spread or that is going to form a drop, depending on the interfaces like this. Is the concept clear? Angle of contact is an angle made by the tangential, angle made by the tangential drawn at the point of contact of the liquid with the solid and taken inside the liquid. That point is also important. Generally what we do, that we take this one, but not that. That is where you have to take inside that. When you're taking inside that, if angle is less than 90, then it forms the spread. If the angle is more than 90, then it is going to form the drop. This is the outline. This is the thing what you should know from angle of contact. That is done. Angle of contact is finished. Now, secondly, when we say drop, again this drop is something like this, some kind of a, because as we have seen in previous class that every fluid, liquid, because of the surface tension for the fluid or liquid, it tries to tense in the form of the smallest area. Sponge duster is a solid object. When water is poured on it, absorbs. Why? Because that duster has the property of absorbing the water. Not only sponge, even some other cloths also absorb the water. Some kind of cloths also absorb. Some kind of wood materials also absorb the water. That is a property of the materials. Like glass rod will not absorb the water. Different substances will have different properties. According to the properties of that behaves. We'll discuss that later. Okay. Vanilla. Let us discuss that later. Let me just over this. Now, I take this as a drop, means inside this it is completely filled with liquid. Water drop, honey drop, ghee drop, any drop, liquid drop it is. Some kind of a liquid drop. What is this? It is a liquid drop. A liquid drop will be having surface tension, surface energy per unit area given by means of surface tension. This liquid has got, why this liquid is in spherical shape? First of all, actually we have seen, when something is left to free itself, it tries to acquire the least possible surface area. And out of all the different geometries, sphere is the one which has got least possible surface area. Accordingly, any kind of liquid will always tend to acquire what kind of shape with that? It tends to acquire spherical shape with that. Now, I'm taking one such drop. I'm not saying that it is water, it is liquid, it is honey. It's some kind of a liquid whose surface tension is. Now, if one important question in this case is that surface tension for this is S. One important question is that will this liquid drop have same pressure as that of outside or inside? Will there be any pressure difference between spherical shape, right, Sujata? Will there be any difference between pressure inside and outside this drop? This is a region called as outside the drop. Outside the drop, there is some kind of a pressure called as atmospheric pressure, which we denote by means of P naught. Yes, which we denote by means of what? P naught. Wait, let me just increase the brightness. I'm not sure. Any difference in the video now? Any clarity change? Because I have just increased the brightness. Okay, anyways, now there is a liquid drop. Inside that liquid drop, all the molecules are closely packed, but outside that liquid drop is surrounded by air, and the pressure exerted by that air is called as atmospheric pressure, denoted by P naught. Now the question is pressure inside this drop same as that of pressure outside this drop? This is outside the drop. This region is outside the drop, and this outside the drop is surrounded by air. Accordingly, pressure is P naught. But inside that, is it same pressure? No, pressure is going to be something different because molecules are compact, closely packed in some kind of a small region. Accordingly, pressure is going to be different. Now we have this question. Question is, what is the pressure inside a drop? Pressure inside a drop. If we suppose pressure inside a drop is P1, I'm supposing this pressure to be, because outside it is different, inside it is going to be different, right? Because inside molecules are closely packed, pressure is going to be different. Now let us say this drop is having a pressure of P1 inside that, and outside it is having a pressure of what? It is having a pressure of what? P naught with it. Now this drop will also have some radius with that. For any kind of a drop, there would be some radius associated with that. And for this liquid drop, there exists some kind of surface tension. Depending on the surface tension, depending on the drop, excess of this is called as P1 is called as excess of pressure inside the drop. Obviously, out of these two, which one would be more, inside or outside? Outside are molecules freely packed, so they can move randomly in all directions, no much pressure. But inside, all the molecules are closely packed. Pressure inside is going to be more. Inside it is more. Very good, Manasa. Inside it is more. Simple. Or that is the thing we have. This is the thing what we call it as excess of pressure inside a drop. What it is called as P1 is called as excess of pressure inside a drop. Inside it is more, outside it is less. One point you should note this. Inside pressure is more for any kind of a drop. Inside pressure is more than the outside pressure. Outside of the drop, the pressure is always atmospheric pressure P naught, and inside we are denoting that in the form of what? P1, which depends upon the surface tension, which depends upon the radii. And what this formula is, it says that inside the pressure, excess of pressure inside a drop is equals to how much pressure present outside to the top 2s by r times of excess. How much more it is? Pressure inside a drop is excess by a factor of 2s by r, where s is what? Surface tension, r is what? Radius. Derivation of this formula is not there for us. No need to bother about the derivation. Just I want you people to remember the formula. Yeah, Sujata, right you are. P1 minus P naught is equals to 2s by r, whereas P1 is equals to P naught plus 2s by r. The question is, how much is more inside that compared with outside? Outside it is P naught and inside it is P1. Compared with outside, inside is how much more? Inside is more by a factor of 2s by r. Means S is the surface tension of this liquid, r is. If it is water, take surface tension of water. Radius, how much is the radius of the drop? If it is honey, surface tension of honey and radius of that honey drop. If it is ghee, surface tension of ghee, of course it will not, it will always spreads in the form of, because of thing it won't form a drop, but I'm just taking some example. Is the point clear, all of you? Inside a drop, inside a liquid drop of any surface tension and radius r, how much excess would be there compared with the outside? Compared with the outside, inside is going to be more, or you can say that simply P1 minus P0 is equals to S by R. You should remember this formula. Formula for excess of pressure inside a drop is when compared with outside, inside is more by a factor of 2S by R. Very good. It's clear. This is for drop. Now we have one more thing in the form of a drop called as bubble. Three kind of things we say: bubble, drop, and cavity. Bubble, drop, and cavity. Drop, bubble. This is one thing called as drop. One more thing is called as bubble. And excess of pressure inside the bubble is given by 4S by R. Formulas. A bubble is a two interface thing. What is a bubble? Bubble is going to have two interfaces with that. Drop is going to have only one interface with that. Because of one interface, it is in the form of 1 times of 2S by R. Because of two interface, it is 2 times of 2S by R. Bubble is going to have two interfaces. I'll tell you what the two interfaces are. Because of one interface. What do you mean by one interface? Somebody text it. Yes, S is surface tension, R is radius of the liquid drop. Right. Right. What do you mean by one interface? This is a surface tension. This is a separation of air to the liquid. This is what the interface is. This surface is the one which is separating. This surface, whatever is existing, is called as interface. And this interface, how many are there? There is only one interface which is separating out liquid and the air. Which is separating liquid and the air. But what do you mean by bubble now? Yeah. What do you mean by bubble now? So bubbles, you know, when we were kids, we used to blow soap bubbles. When we were kids, we used to blow soap bubbles, right? When we go to some kind of, I mean, this thing like exhibitions and all, we say people playing with bubbles. Soapy solutions, you take, blow air on that, it forms. A bubble is that what? It is going, check out here, check in this diagram. A bubble is that I'm drawing here. A bubble is that inside it is air, outside is also air, and this is a liquid surface. Yes or no? Inside, for a bubble, inside is also air existing. What is the difference between drop and bubble now? What is the difference between drop and bubble now? Inner part of the drop consists of liquid, whereas outer part of the drop consists of air. Whereas for bubble, inner drop is also air, outer part is also air, and these two are separated by some kind of a liquid. Air, two kinds of airs. Air is separated with how many interfaces are there? This is one interface of air to liquid, one more interface of air to liquid. In that case, that such thing is not existing. Liquid air interface, only one. Here there are two interfaces. Because of two interfaces, it is 2 times of 2S. One interface, 1 times of 2S by R. One interface, 1 times of 2S by R. Two interfaces, 2 times of 2S by R. Three interfaces, 3 times of 3S by R. 2S by R. Air is separated by liquid interface. Yeah. Air is separated by liquid interface is called as bubble. Very good, vanilla. So what is this bubble now? Bubble is a two interface device, whereas inside that bubble you'll find air, outside also you'll find air itself, but two kinds of airs. Air is separated by means of some kind of closed surface. Now this bubble, this is what we call it as bubble. Bubble is going to have surface tension. Surface tension of soap solution. Sometimes you take soap solutions, sometimes you take shampoo solution, sometimes you take some kind of liquids specially designed for this. Some chemicals can be used to get this kind of soap. By unintentionally, we also get some kind of water bubbles also. Even that bubble also. Bubble means inside and outside it is empty space. Only that layer exists. Two things, drop and bubble. Third kind of a thing what you should know is cavity. Three things. Let me just brief up that also. Cavity. A cavity is the empty space present inside a liquid. Cavity is the empty space present inside a liquid. What is that empty space present inside a liquid? Now you have a chamber and filled with water. Filled with water. And if there is some kind of region where there is no water inside, that is, there is an air inside that. Air, outer surface is not air here. Air, outer surface is, in this case, in this chamber, filled with water. Filled with water, and there is some kind of an arrangement in such a way that no water enters into that, only that is filled with air. Inner surface of this thing is having air, outer surface of that is going to have what? Liquid, or that is water. Here what is that? Outer surface is air, inner surface is air, that is called as bubble. But if, can you place a bubble inside a water? If you place a bubble or any bubble what is present inside a water will be now converting into cavity. What is it called as? Cavity. Cavity is the space filled with air surrounded by the liquid. If in a liquid there is some kind of an empty space exists without any liquid in that or air with that, that is called as a cavity. Three things: drop, bubble and cavity. For cavity we won't write any formulas. Drop, bubble and cavity. Hope the things are clear. Hope the things are clear. Drop, bubble and cavity. What is drop now? What is drop? Drop is the liquid present inside that consists of only liquid part with that. Out of that consists of some kind of gaseous structure, gas elements. Now inside this drop there is an excess of pressure because there is only one interface here. Liquid solid interface is only one, liquid and gaseous interface is only one. Accordingly, because of that, inside that drop, excess of pressure is 1 times of excess of pressure inside anything is generally by the factor of 2s by r. Depending on how many interfaces, it is those many number of 2s by r's. If because for drop there is only one interface, 1 times of 2s by r it is. That is 2s by r. Inside it is more from outside. Outside it is P naught, and to that P naught if you add 2s by r, you are going to get inside. Similarly, because for a bubble there are two interfaces, excess of pressure is going to be 2 times of 2s by r, which is 4s by r. Whereas cavity, we will not write pressure equation for this cavity. Cavity is an empty space present inside the liquid region. Empty space surrounded, not surrounded with the liquid, surrounded with some kind of element, maybe gas, something like this. Cavity. This is about what? This is about this one. What is that? Drop, bubble and cavity. And let us just talk about the last part. Angle of contact is finished. Depending on the angle of contact, we say how drops are formed and how spreads are formed, which is purely depending upon what? Purely depending upon the angle of contact, less than 90 and more than 90. And once we get the concept of a drop, we extend that one to drop in the form of bubble and cavity. Bubble is two interface. Bubble is having two interfaces. Drop is having one interface. They're not bothered about the interface of cavity. Whereas all these three is having excess of pressure inside that. Excess of pressure inside that is given by means of outside pressure plus 2s by r for one. That is for drop. It is excess of pressure is P1 minus P naught is excess of pressure. Excess of pressure for drop is 2s by r. Excess of, remember like this. Excess of pressure for drop is 2s by r. Excess of pressure for bubble is 4s by r. That's the formula you should know. Whereas sometimes if it is asked specifically how much is present inside, you should add that one to outside pressure. P1 minus P naught is 2s by r. P1 minus P naught is 4s by r. Right? Then S is surface tension, R is the radius. And one more thing what you have understood is cavity. And lastly, we have the phenomena of capillarity. What is capillarity? Capillarity is a phenomenon of raise or lowering of the liquid level inside a smaller diameter. Inside a smaller diameter or radius. What does it mean? The raising or lowering of liquid level inside a smaller diameter. Raising or lowering of Air bubble forms inside the liquid drop, hence it has one liquid interface, right? That's fine. Yeah, same formula 2s by r then. Sujata, good. Right. What is capillarity? Capillarity is the raising or lowering of height. Raising or lowering means adjusting the height. Where that is taking place? That is taking place inside the smaller radius. What in by smaller radius? Capillarity is a device. There is some kind of a device constructed in the form like this. There is some kind of a cylindrical glass rod with radius of small radius with that, with some kind of a radius. Total is diameter, half of that is radius. There is some small opening inside this. Now for some kind of a thing like this, some kind of a cylindrical rod, there is small hole present from here to here, very small part, that is called as capillary tube. What it is called as? If there is a small hole in some kind of a cylindrical rod like this, with a small hole at the center from here to here, completely open hole, that is called as a small. It should be small, not a bigger hole like this, very big hole, not. It's very, very small inside a smaller radius. Now what happens if you take that and immerse in any kind of a liquid? That kind of a glass rod is taken with a certain hole inside that. Then what happens if you immerse that rod inside a liquid containing some kind of jar? This is called as trough. We call it as trough. A rod with small radius is immersed into a trough filled with the liquid. A rod with small, this is the diameter, this is the hole I'm trying to show you, and through this hole what is happening, or if it is immersed, what happens now? This liquid, what is present here, will be raising or lowering. Either it comes up to certain height or it goes down inside this opening, inside this small opening part. You'll find that either liquid rises up or goes down. This phenomena of raising up or going down of the liquid in a glass rod, in a tube, this is called as tube, simply capillary tube or tube. In a tube, when immersed in a trough of liquid, is this phenomena of raising or lowering is called as what? Capillarity, or it is called as capillarity. That is different aspect. Vanilla, if a beaker is filled with water, if we throw a stone, then the water level increases, because that is from Archimedes principle or Pascal's law. You can say how much volume is immersed, that much of water is going to displace. Same thing, even that is also applicable here. Now when something is immersed, this volume has to be displaced. How much is displacing? In the absence of this capillary tube, that displacement can be shown here by talking about the level of rise of water. That is now done in the form of, if the entire part is present, only small quantity is raised. But if you take a small opening like this, what happens? In this small opening, large quantity of height raises. This phenomena is called as what? Capillarity. You should know the definition first of all. What is capillarity? Capillarity is a phenomena of rising or lowering of a liquid. Where this raising or lowering of a liquid has to take place, it should take place in a smaller radius, which is in the form of the capillary tube. This phenomena of raising or lowering is called as capillarity. Right? Now you have formula to determine the height, how much it rises. Now I say inside this height of the liquid level is going to increase. From the actual position of the water, how much height it is raised. This is the actual level of the water, and inside this you'll find it goes to very height, large height, some height like this. That is in the form of what? Height h. Now there is a formula to determine the height of rise in capillary tube. This is called as height raised in the capillary tube is given by the formula. Only formula is needed for us. Height raised in the capillary tube, this is called as capillary tube. Height raised in the capillary tube when immersed in a liquid of density rho. This liquid will have some density with that. This liquid will have some surface tension with that, and there is some kind of liquid interface, right? Here the diagram is too small. Now if I take, this is the opening part of the radius, and immersing, like liquid is rising up here. This is what the region where we get solid liquid interface. Liquid is interacting with the glass chamber of solid, Now inside that, if you take some, you are going to get some kind of angle of contact. It is going to have some angle of contact with that. It is going to have angle of contact. This liquid will have density with that, and liquid is going to have surface tension with that. Liquid is going to have angle of contact with the capillary method, with the capillary tube, and some part of the liquid is also going to be acting downwards because of acceleration due to gravity. G is also very much present. Depending on all these factors, the height is given by the formula. You should know this formula. H is equals to 2s cos theta by rho g a, where a is the radius of this tube. You should know formula. That's it. You should remember this formula. 2s cos theta by rho g by, where is Pravalika, right? Yeah, you know these formulas. Maybe you are looking at PDFs and getting the formulas. I'm just trying to tell you the things present in this formula. Right, that's right, Pravalika. Good. You should remember this. H is the height rise in the capillary tube. Where this capillary tube is immersed? Capillary tube of radius A is immersed in a liquid whose density is rho and whose surface, every liquid has got surface tension. Surface tension is S. And at the point of contact of the liquid with the solid, this is a glass tube, right? Solid and liquid are interfacing. At the point of contact, you are going to get angle. That is called as angle of contact. Also, G acts always in the downward direction. Now, theta is angle of contact, S is surface tension, rho is density of the fluid. This is rho, appearing in the form of P, but this is rho. Rho is density of the fluid, acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.8 always, and A is the radius. Depending on these factors, you can now determine the height. Because why it is important is that every time 1 2-mark question will be there in the exams only based on the formula. You should remember this formula. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, out of 6 parameters in this, 5 would be given, other has to be identified. Either you would be given density or it would be given this value is constant. G is constant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things are there. 4 would be given, the other has to be identified by using this formula. Just remember the formula. Capillarity definition, mechanism, and the formula to determine the height. Apart from this, you have the way working of detergent, like with diagrams and all it is given. I'm not just taking all that entire part, just the method. What the question is, what is the purpose of adding soap to water while washing the clothes? Any answer from you? What is the purpose of adding soap to water while washing the clothes? Why don't we wash clothes directly with water? Why don't we wash clothes directly with water? Why will we use some kind of chemicals like surf or soaps to clean the dirt? Of course, it is to clean the dirt, but in what way? How to use physics to explain that? Why do we use soap to clean? Everyone knows this, to clean. Then how that addition of chemical is helping in cleaning the clothes, removing the dirt from the clothes? How it is done? Yeah, to remove, yeah, that reduces surface tension. Very good, Madhu. Surface tension of water is some number, let us say X. Now that water can penetrate only into some small part, some parts of the cloth, not to all parts of the cloth. There is some kind of a dust called as grease or blood stains or tea or coffee stains. All these things will have different dirt particles. These will not allow water into enter that. Where there is a grease on the cloth, water will not allow that grease will not allow water to enter that. Now we add soap solution or soap, what will happen now? Soap will reduce the surface tension of the water. So that how much surface tension it has to, it should have that surface tension which is lesser than the grease solution. Grease solution is also having some surface because it is also liquid, that is also having some surface tension. Water is having more, grease is having less. When can surface tension enter into that one? Which if it is having that liquid what you are using to wash the clothes having lesser surface tension than the grease, then that will enter. So addition of soaps will do what? Will reduce the surface tension of the water. How much it has to reduce? It has to reduce to that quantity similar to that of the dirt what is present. All the dirt particles with more surface tension than water will be removed with water only. Because water is having less surface tension, it enters to that and it removes that. Whereas some stains are having more surface tension than water, they cannot be removed. By using soap solution, you are making that also to enter. Even further it is not moved, then again add some more other kind of things, that in the form of various detergents. Detergent reduce surface tension, or simple thing. That is a thing explained in the form of a figure in the textbook. I'm not doing that because of not possible to draw that figures. You can just check that figures in the textbook. That figures are difficult to understand while drawing. If it is an offline class, I'll just show that textbook and I'll explain what it is. I'll never teach that on the board by drawing the figures. I'm very bad at drawing. Is that concept clear? So this class is concluded. I'll just stop recording now because let us have just casual discussion. And with this, the chapter of fluids is completed. Tomorrow we'll start the next chapter. If anybody is interested, I'll give some more numerical problems for practice sessions. Coming back to what? Coming back to the quiz scheduled on 8th of July, 4 p.m. common quiz for all. Right?